Yo, what's up, YouTube? This is your boy Jay from Keeping It Real, your arbiter of gaming news and commentary, hitting you off with a studio production video where you know this is your channel, where all gamers' voices are heard. With your boy Jay, always dropping the word. Keeping them other gaming YouTubers like, what you heard? And where you always know, we always keep it all the way real. So what's up? Just want to thank you all for checking out my studio production video today, and you know what time it is, the place where all gamers' voices are heard, and your boy Jay is dropping that word. So like usual, I'm gonna go ahead and dig right in. So yeah, man, today, I think it was time to do another one of those all things gaming discussion, where, I just basically cover, a large amount of topics, man, because when it comes down to me, when I do my videos and when I think about the videos I do, I mainly do videos on things I personally want to see on YouTube. If I was personally surfing YouTube, what would I want to see? What would I want to hear about? And that's the type of material I typically do. And especially I do things from certain angles that, you may not see you're not going to see in other places. Because I really try to dig deep into the psychological mindset of where these companies are coming from, and dig deep, man. So yeah, that's typically how I get down. So it'll be a lot of stuff that some things that may be out I may not cover. Point in case is this thing that's going on with Sony right now with Naughty Dog, and a guy coming out and saying he was sexually harassed. I've gotten, I appreciate the comments on that, and, bringing that to my attention. I know about it. I just don't personally do videos on stuff like that because my point is that I don't see that being gaming or hardware related. If it's not related to a console, if it's not related to a game, I don't really cover it on this channel because in my opinion, that's a personal thing. Whatever he's going on at his job, that's on them. I'm not surprised when it comes to Sony. I mean, it's a corporation. They're going to do dirty ended stuff like that. That's just how it goes. But, it's not something I will cover here. And it's also something I don't really have a lot of opinions on because, I think that's up to that man and his own personal thing that he was going through to speak up for himself. And since there was no game or really any hardware connected to that, I don't really see myself having any grounds to speak on it because, I don't think no one's going to really know all the facts about what transpired between those. And that's just really one of those things I don't really get into. It's the same type of stuff like when people say, oh, well, I prefer my PlayStation games, whatever PlayStation games better than Xbox exclusive games. I don't really get into that. That's your personal opinion, your preference. Okay. And I'm not going to argue with you about whatever your personal opinions or your preference is. That's your personal opinions and your preference. That's very personal to each individual. I don't think that's something where there's not going to be any facts in that other than you're saying it, right? So I don't really get into that because I think that's a very, you're lowering yourself into a place where you can't have a factual grounding, and when you don't have a factual grounding, you don't really have a sturdy platform to stand on or speak from. So I'm very careful of that type of stuff. I don't really get myself into that because I just think it's a slippery slope, and it's just at the end of the day, you can't really definitively say anything, you know what I mean? So it's just like a he said, she said type deal. I just don't get into that. So that's the reason why I kind of stand clear. And it's not really involving having to do with, gaming necessarily in regards to a particular game or a particular piece of hardware. So I just stay away from it. So now getting back into gaming, man, I think, in this discussion, I think there's a lot of things going on. I just kind of want to set the atmosphere because I think right now, I mean, we have the X ever so getting closer to its release, and you guys, I mean, Xbox guys know what time it is. I mean, it's a great time to be excited. I think for all gamers in general, it's a great time to be excited. But I think for Xbox guys especially, I'm speaking to you guys right here when I say this, is that you guys know this is when all the haters really ramp up everything and come out the woodworks. I mean, they've been seriously trying to do this already, but now it's at a fever pitch because the X is about to release. And it's one of those things that's really interesting to me, man, because watching confirmation bias play out in real time in my comment box, in others' comment boxes, on multiple media outlets, whether it be Twitter or whether it be Instagram or Facebook or wherever the hell it is, or even just on, different threads in different places on forums. It's really interesting, man, because it's like, to me, when I see it, man, and I see the same talking points over and over again, it's interesting, man, because if you look at all the talking points, most of the talking points are being done by a lot of these Sony ponies out here, man, these little punk Sony fanboys. The funny thing about it, man, is none of them has anything to do with power. That's really funny, man. What's funny to me is that you will not see not one of them talking about really power. Now, yeah, you'll see there's some that are talking about 8.2, still on some 8.8, what is it, 8.4 teraflops that Mark Cerny was talking about when it comes to, 16-bit half float rendering. This is ridiculous, man. But I ain't gonna even get into that. But you'll see some guys talking about that. But and even those guys will admit, okay, the X is more powerful. Yeah, we know that. But I just think it's funny, man, because that's all you heard for the first 3 years. That's all you heard from these guys. These very same idiots. That's all you heard. And I call them idiots because, like, if you can't look at it and see and be objective about it and see, okay, well, yeah, we've lost on this. Maybe let's just be a little humbled and then maybe move on to something that's a more dignified argument that has merit. That's why I would think, okay, you're intelligent, man. You're using your head. These guys, they just keep pounding their head against the wall over and over. And that's what I gotta call, there's something mentally wrong with you, man. If you found out the first time it didn't go nowhere, maybe after that, stop hitting your head against the wall. Just stop. Okay? That's why I have this new thing. I just be like, just stop. Just stop, man. Just don't do it anymore. Just stop. Okay? Because you're making yourself look really immature, look really stupid. It's like, we get it, you're mad. We get it. It's upsetting. It's uncomfortable. But you know what? It's not the end of the world, bro. These companies go up and down, and it's called capitalism. You know what I mean? Like, part of the nature of the beast is that when one company is doing well, the other company looks at that and say, okay, I'm gonna step up my game and do just as good or better. Okay, that's a part of capitalism, man. That's part of the free market. That's how it works. Okay, so you got to understand that means you're gonna have ups and downs for all companies. Microsoft has had theirs. Now it looks like Sony's definitely is on the horizon that they're gonna have theirs, and for most likely for the next 2 to 3 years. And we're gonna see hopefully Sony bounce back and say, okay, here's our response. So that's just how the market goes. So the notion that, that's just not a thing, that you're just going to be on top and you're going to be the fan favorite forever. It's like, it just doesn't work that way, bro. Like, if you're thinking that, that's kind of idiotic. That's kind of not knowing any sense of history. or any sense of reality, and that's why I say that, man. You just like, that's why I keep thinking like, how old are these guys? I mean, are you an adult? Do you have any sense at all? Like, are you 12? Are you 8? I kind of take you as you're young, or at least young minded, because if you don't understand these things, then there's something going on there mentally, man, that you might want to wake up and start just actually just looking at the past, looking at the trends, how things work when it comes to marketing in the gaming market, and how things works when it comes to ups and downs, and just pay attention to what's going on between Microsoft and Sony. I don't think anyone can deny right now Sony is pretty much at its lowest point. They, for years now, have been very anti-consumer. They've been all about the money in their pocket, just been very arrogant, screwing over gamers in any way that they can, telling gamers what it's going to be as opposed to giving gamers options. As a result of that, releasing 2 pieces of failed hardware that both of them completely rushed. One of them, the PS4 VR, that literally just recently came out with a higher version, screwing over all the people who has already brought in one, making people feel even more, what the hell did I even invest in this in the first place? And then with your PS4 Pro, basically making a half-step measure, lying about it being 4K, and knowing damn well it's just a resolution box, that it doesn't have 4K textures. You didn't put the time and the money into it to actually have it be anything like of what a real 4K machine should be, and basically just making a failed console to where your actual standard PS4 is more attractive, especially considering the price. So it's just been a dismal failure on both of these pieces of hardware that's going to really drag them down, and I don't think anyone could seriously deny that at this point. You look at what's going on, the news stories that are coming out about, there was yet another new game that just came out that's going to have crossplay on all the other platforms except for Sony. Yet again, we're into this crossplay thing where Sony's refusing, and this is on a smaller game, and Sony's refusing to do it just because they're so just scared that, somebody might now go over to another platform. It's like that tells you how insecure they really are, and that also tells you they're not really confident in their product. If they were, they wouldn't have to really worry about people going over to their competitor, just because they're doing crossplay. But that tells you just how really insecure they really are, and how they know their product is insignificant to Microsoft. If they didn't think that, they wouldn't care. And also, they would want their consumers to actually have choice and actually be able to interact with other platforms. But what do? They want to take control and say, no, we're not going to do that. You look at what they're doing in backwards compatibility. I mean, you got these fanboys out here arguing why backwards compatibility doesn't matter. You know why? Because Sony said it didn't matter. Is it that gamers are really saying it doesn't matter, or is it that Sony saying it really doesn't matter? And that's the problem with fanboys. Like, to defend a company that is hurting you, that's epitome of, in my point, is just being straight up ignorant, dog. That's why I would say where I come from. It's like, come on, man. When you vote against your own disinterest, you got to wake the hell up. That's a cultive personality, and you need to wake up to the facts and reality that, hey, that's not in my best interest. Why would I be for something that's not in my best interest as a gamer? But this is the problems that that is going on these days. And I just think for a lot of us, you got to understand, the new thing now is no games. Even though you got Sony fanboys sitting here doing petitions to get Cuphead, but we have no exclusives. It's just funny to me, man. Like, because I never seen any Xbox guys trying to do petitions to get his Horizon Zero Dawn. You never never seen no Xbox guys doing petitions to try to get a lot of Niho or Nier Automata. Like, not Xbox guys are not doing that. They figure, well, if you want it, either somebody's game may eventually come to Xbox, you wait, or you just get a PlayStation. Either one or two. Like, you know, this the thought that you talk all this crap. These fanboys talk all this crap about exclusives, but yet when we have exclusives, time and time again, you keep trying to do petitions to get our exclusives. But the excuses don't matter, right? And our excuses are nothing, right? We have nothing. Or it goes to PC, even though if you look at the PlayStation side, increasingly more and more PlayStation 4 games are going to PC. And, you know, my point to that would be, okay, so it's still a PlayStation exclusive, right? It's still a console exclusive. It might be going to PC, but it's still a console exclusive because you can only console you can play it on this PlayStation. For some reason or not, these fanboys don't get that for Xbox. They only seem to understand that for PlayStation, but don't understand it for Xbox. So you see where I'm going with this. It's like, these are going to be the type of discussions to distract people, to troll people. And you got to understand, man, you got to stay clear and focus on what really matters. What really matters is we're about to get a console that is going to do something in the gaming industry and in the gaming world that we've never seen before. For once and for all, we're going to get a console that's actually going to live up and even surpass the promise of what's being made. And that is having PC-like quality, but with console simplicity. That's never been done before in the gaming industry. We've never had a piece of hardware like this. And I think it's an exciting time, because when they say, hey, man, you have no games, your reply should be, yeah, yeah, we only just have all the games. What are you talking about? All the games are going to look better and run better on the X. So yeah, we have all the games, and we also have where the X will be completely backwards compatible. So yeah, we just have all the games, while you're sitting there stuck with only just trying to, if you want to do backwards compatibility, you got to stream it and pay for it, and pay for each and every game, and have a clunky internet streaming that doesn't work as well. That's the only way you get it. And the other thing to that is, every game for now and into the future is going to be subpar to the X. So that's what you're looking forward to. You know what I mean? So you got to understand, they're mad about that. They're mad about, because they know the fact that every single game that's going to come out, they're going to get shitted on. Every single game, the PlayStation is going to be the worst looking version of every single game, now and into the foreseeable future. So you got to understand, you know, they're not too happy about that. So to distract from that, they'll just say stupid claims like, you have no games or no exclusives, you know, dumb things like that. I mean, what else can they do? What else can they really say right now? They can't talk up how proud they are of the PS4 Pro. They can't, you know, all they can do right now is talk numbers that are before the X releases, right? Because all these numbers are before the X releases. When the X releases, we'll see what the NPDs look like month for month. But right now, all they can talk up is, you know, what the PS4 numbers did, right? Or the exclusives that they're going to be getting in the foreseeable future. A lot of those exclusives, like Death Stranded and The Last of Us 2, you won't even be seeing until more than likely the PS5. So, you know, a lot of this stuff, and the thing is about it, and it's, even if you do, okay, great. It still doesn't change the fact that the most popular games and has been, and most likely doesn't look like it's going to change ever, is multiplats. Simple as that. If you look at what most people are buying on PlayStation, it's not their exclusives, because if it was, their exclusives would have sold a hell of a lot better than they have. If you look at most of the exclusives from PlayStation for this year, they didn't really sell that well. But look at what your install base is on PlayStation. Your install base on PlayStation is supposed to be 60 million, right? Or even more. But how does it that your exclusive games are selling less than 1 million? Or 1 million, if it's lucky. 1 million in a point something, if it's lucky. With the exception of Horizon Dawn, it did pretty well, but it didn't do all that well. It didn't do as well, as nowhere near numbers like Uncharted did, right? So you got to understand that what are most of those people buying? They're buying something. They're not buying the exclusives, but they're buying something. Multiplats. That's what they're buying. So factual evidence and proof right there that exclusives are not as prominent or not as end all be all as they used to, and then they still keep hitting their heads against the wall and saying it is. Like, you gotta stop, man. Just stop, bro. Like, people, like, just look at the facts and the statistics. It tells you everything you need to know. Just stop. You know what I mean? Like, no one can argue that, what I just said about the exclusive sales versus the multi-plat sales. No one can argue it, because those are facts, man. And and the thing is, and that's why I say, I call these guys out for what they are, because it's like they just keep banging their heads on a wall. And when you do that, you can't have a positive, constructive gaming conversation. You just can't. And when you're not having that, then you're just distracting from the grown-ups. You're just being a child. You're being no different than a child throwing a tantrum, in a restaurant. You're just distracting from grown-ups, trying to have a peaceful meal and talk about important things and eat. You're no different, and it's just like, if you're one of those people, you got to wake the hell up, man, and say, I don't want to be about this, because this doesn't improve my quality of gaming life. It really doesn't. I mean, you running around being a petulant little child, throwing tantrums, being mad at facts, screaming and, writing all these negative, hateful little stupid things. It's because you're a fanboy now, and you're mad and you're salty. Like, you doing all that, how is that gonna make your gaming experience of anything that you're doing any better? Like, it's just really, I just gotta laugh at some of these guys, man. I just think, they're just funny, man. They're really funny, because with all that hate, I'm enjoying my stuff, man. I'm having a good time. You know what I mean? Right now, I'm mostly playing backwards compatible games, because, like I keep telling people, I'm spoiled, man. I'm waiting for the X to start playing a lot of the newer games that are coming out, and even some of the older games that's been out that's going to be enhanced on the X. I'm waiting for the X. I'm spoiled as hell. I keep it real. I'm spoiled as hell. And that's what I'm waiting on. So guess what? I'm playing a lot of backwards compatible games right now. You know what I mean? But that I have that option with Xbox. I think I'm going to do a video, and I'm going to show you guys my collection of PlayStation 2 and PlayStation 3 games that I currently would love to be able to play on my PlayStation 4, but I can't. You know what I mean? Because the sad reality is, like, people can say all they want about backwards compatibility, but it's a beautiful thing. It adds a beautiful value to your current console to be able to play your backwards compatible games. Now with the X, it takes it a step further, where it's going to super sample all those games, have those games looking and playing better than they've ever played before. Wouldn't you like that on your PS4 Pro? Come on, keep it real. Any of the Sony guys out there, I'm talking to you guys. You can't tell me you wouldn't love that on your PS4 Pro if Sony would do that. You can't tell me that. You know what I mean? Like, of course you would. Of course. I know you guys got some games out there you would love to be able to play, or go back to. Especially this generation. This generation, I don't know if you guys have been paying attention, but a lot of the games in this generation, the last generation puts these games to shame. I mean, they just don't make games like they used to. I mean, yeah, you have games that are exception to that are coming out, and that's great and all. But for the most part, if you look at the last generation, they had games that put a lot of these newer generation games to shame. And to not be able to go back and be able to play those games in a comprehensive way, it's really sad. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, people will tell you, oh yeah, I could fire up my old PS4, my old PS3 or old PS2. Who really wants to do that? Yeah, I guess you could. Yeah, sure. But you're not going to get any improvements on doing that. It's going to be the same old thing, as opposed to a hardware manufacturer putting the time and the dedication into ensuring that you could do that on a newer console that's going to give you the benefits of what the newer console is, playing it on newer hardware, like faster loading times, like eliminating pop-ups, like super sampling and improving the graphics and you know, and the visual look of the game. Well, you're not going to get any of that, you know. So and also not everybody still has a PlayStation 2 or PlayStation 3. You know what I mean? You know, they just expect, you know, of course, most people don't still have their PlayStation 2 and PlayStation 3. I would say the minority of people still have a PlayStation 2 and PlayStation 3. You know, minority. Most people don't have it. So, yeah, it's one of those things that's pretty crazy, man. When it comes down to these fanboys, I kind of feel sorry for them, man. I tell them I feel sorry for them because they really just are. They feel they're gonna feel disenfranchised because they don't got a company in Sony that really is actually trying to do things for them. Sony is doing everything they can for their bottom line and their pocketbook, and it's pretty obvious at this point. Anyone who argues that that's not the case, you might want to just wake the hell up, man, and just look at the multiple things that Sony's doing that is only beneficial to Sony. You think about all the money that Sony has put into these marketing rights, right? You think about they put marketing rights on each and every, spending millions upon millions of dollars. Wouldn't you would have rather them put all those millions and millions of dollars into making more greater games and also speeding the production of their games up so they can get them out faster? Wouldn't you have rather them put all those millions upon millions of dollars into maybe actually adding some more RAM into the PS4 Pro so it could actually have 4K textures and assets, so it could be more visually on par with actual 4K, it being the actual 4K machine? You know, wouldn't you rather maybe them put their money into actually having a 4K Blu-ray player so you could actually watch 4K movies? Other than, oh no, you can just stream it, which obviously is a lower quality, and it just depends on how good your internet is. It's going to depend on how good your picture is. Everyone knows, anyone who knows what's up, knows that a native disc that you put in on a 4K Blu-ray player is going to give you the optimum and best picture as opposed to compressed streaming 4K. That's just hands down. But Sony sells you this crap, and this makes you believe it, that's better. Yeah, because no one uses DVDs. So they use all these BS talking points to make you believe that giving you less value and for your money is better for you. You know what I'm saying? But wouldn't you prefer that they spent all that money into all that marketing that really doesn't really benefit nobody but Sony? Think about the marketing. Who does the marketing really benefit? How does it benefit you as a gamer? Think about that. Oh, great. Oh, look, Sony's logo is at the bottom of the commercial. That benefits you? How? How does that benefit you? Oh, great. Oh, when they talk about it, they talk about Sony being related to this game. How does that benefit you? It's not Sony's exclusives, so it's a multi-plat. But how does it really benefit? This is why Microsoft didn't try to buy up all that. They put it into the X, making the most powerful console ever made. That's the real deal. They put it into that. Next year, what you're gonna see is you're gonna see games out the wazoo for Xbox, because this year was all about establishing they are the best platform to game on. You are going to get all the best versions of the games. You're going to get backwards compatibility. You're going to get crossplay. You're going to get Game Pass. You'll get Mixer. You get all types of new features that you can do and you can enjoy on this platform. It's establishing the brand. Next year, that's when it's going to be all about the games. Games. They ain't going to do nothing but games. This is the reason why they're putting $1 billion into first party IP. It's all going to be about the game. So all this little criticism crap, oh, you got no game, all that, they're going to get shut the hell up next year. All that's going to come to an end, because the fact is now Now that they got the most powerful console, all they have but to do is crank out all the best games, man. All you know, and you think about this, the exclusives are just gonna be, that's just gonna be adding fuel to the fire, because they're already gonna have all the best multiplats. Developers right now, even Square developers right now, is excited about the what the X can do when it comes to Final Fantasy 15 and beyond. Square is excited. They're looking at the X right now. This was another story that came out when it comes to the Square. They are excited about what the X can do, and they're already looking at the future implications of what they're going to be doing on Final Fantasy V, because you know Final Fantasy V is one of those games that is going to be supported, and they're going to have DLC coming out for Final Fantasy V. You got to understand, man, you know, next year is going to be a tsunami of games from Microsoft. Their E3 is going to be one for the history books next year, and that is not hyperbole. I'm being straight up. If you pay attention to what's been going on now, you pay attention to the stroke movements of what Microsoft is doing, how they're doing things, how they're setting things up, you will see very clearly that they wanted to get their hardware out the way and then solely focus their energy on games, just like they did in this past E3. 40 some odd games, you know, is you're saying they didn't focus? Of course they did. They focused on games. And next year E3, I mean, next year you got Anthem coming out, you got Metro coming out. All these games are going to be the best on Xbox. You know, you got Sea of Thieves, you got Crackdown 3. You're going to have a slew of new games that are going to be leaking and coming out. I think, you know, you got, most likely they may even be pulling a Halo 6 out, and a slew of other games that we didn't know or wasn't expecting. I'm even thinking that and it's looking like we even might be getting a Splinter Cell coming out. A lot of these games that I was expecting for this year, I think they're going to be pulling them out in next year's E3. Games like Splinter Cell, games like a Borderlands 3. They may even be doing a collaboration with Borderlands 3 in Gearbox. We'll see. But one thing you can rest assured is that all these games, whether if they're first party or multiplat, they're going to look and play better on the X. They're going to blow the PlayStation out the water on each and every single game, every single time. That's one thing you can know for a damn fact. So the thing is about this is that you got to understand, if you're a gamer, you should just be excited in general, because there are good things coming. And you can't let these haters rob you of your joy, because that's all they're trying to do. They're miserable, sad, and pathetic. So here they are online, or here they're on social media trying to rob you of your joy. They're like the Grinch that stole Christmas. Here they come. And you notice anytime any gamers are excited about something, especially on the Xbox side, here they come trying to steal you being joyful, because they're sad and pathetic. You know, misery loves company. And these Sony fanboys are the epitome of misery loving company. They're the epitome of it. Now, I'm not saying that doesn't go on all sides with mostly all fanboys in general, whether they're Xbox fanboys, PC fanboys, Nintendo fanboys. But what I'm saying is that what we're getting when it comes to any of the arguments, they're just completely and utterly disingenuous. I haven't seen any of these Sony fanboys really launch any real legitimate argument. Because saying you have no games and then trying to prop up your sales of your PS4 ain't cutting it, bruh. Get out of here with that. It ain't cutting it. Okay? It really ain't. Okay, great, whoop-de-doo. What does that do for you as a gamer? You're telling me what your preference of games are. Who cares? Great. That's your preference, in your opinion. And then you're telling me how great another company's sales did that has nothing to do with you. None of that money's going in your pocket. So how is that a good and positive conversation for you as a gamer? That's what I want to know. You know what I mean? Like, does that help you? Does that do something for you? Because I feel like, you know, when you get these Sony fanboys to say that to you, that's what you need to say to them. Okay, great. Sony got all those sales. Now, what money does that put in your pocket, bruh? You know, okay, great. You like all Sony PlayStation games. Great for you. Keep on playing them. What does that do with me? What does it do with any other gamer? or anybody else. Like, okay, great. You telling me your personal opinions about things. Like, who cares? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't understand, man. You know, what I'm talking about is all the best games, all the best looking visual games. The industry is itself, and when it comes to the console market, actually becoming better by one console that's releasing. That's something that lifts. That's a tide that lifts all boats, bruh. That's not about my personal opinion. That's not about just what I like. That's about facts. That the X is coming out and it's doing something no other console has done, which is providing a console on the market that is providing something that gamers has never had before, and us having games to a quality that as console gamers we've never experienced before. That's something for all gamers. It doesn't matter who you are, what platform you game on. That's something not just for Microsoft's pockets. No, it's something for me as a gamer, that I can now play quality, great games that I've always wanted. I can now have a use for my 4K TV that gives me more content on my 4K TV. I can now stream games and create content on my 4K TV in ways I've never been able to do before. I can now experience games in depth in ways that I've never been able to experience before. I can now not be sitting there idle waiting on a loading screen like I used to anymore. Those are things that improves the quality of my life as a gamer, man. I don't want to hear about what your game preferences are or how much some units sold. What does that have to do with me as a gamer? And that's the point that I'm trying to make here. Like, right now, the X is improving our gaming lives as gamers, bro. That's what's important. That's what it's all about. And anyone who wants to argue against that, well, then you're not a real gamer, man. You're really not. Because, you know, you're basically just a troll, and your misery loves company. You're miserable and you want to make someone else miserable. That's all it's about. And that's what these fanboys are all about, man. They're not about anything positive. They're not about anything constructive. That's what they're all about. I don't mean to go on a yelling rant, man, but, you know, I'm just keeping it real, speaking the truth, man. I guess this is my sermon today. On a Monday, straight up. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man, that's going to be pretty much my video, man. I just wanted to break it down. You know, and just have this gaming discussion, man. Don't let these haters get to you or bog you down, man. We about to have the greatest thing in gaming history that's ever happened to us right now, this next month, and into the foreseeable future. So you guys should be excited. So, yeah, man, that's my video. I want you guys to go ahead and hit me up in the comment box. Tell me what you think. Like, share, subscribe if you dig your boys' content. Man, until the next time. This is Jay. I'm always keeping it real, and I'm gone.